Hey everybody, my name's Tom Westerholm, sports producer at MassLive.com, and we're here to talk about the 2017 NBA Draft Lottery. The dream scenario for the Boston Celtics is Markelle Fultz, guard out of Washington. He is an absolute stud, three-level scorer who can hit from three-point range, mid-range, and around the rim. Freak athlete. He's a two-way player, so once he starts to develop his defensive instincts, he's going to become a real stud. What's interesting about Fultz is that he broke onto the scene as a junior. When we first saw him, he wasn't even in the top 100 on ESPN. He didn't start playing varsity basketball until he was a junior. Played JV at DeMatha before that. But it was pretty apparent the first time you saw Fultz that he was going to be an NBA player. He was very smooth with the dribble. He could get where he wanted to go. He could hit threes already. And he actually had one of the best dunks of that hoop hall, which is pretty impressive because that's a bunch of high school kids who are all freak athletes dunking on each other. Washington was a bad team. They didn't make the NCAA tournament this year. They really relied on Fultz to do everything. And to his credit, he really did. You know, there were moments where his effort was kind of questionable, especially on the defensive end, but that really was the only knock against him this year. He controlled the offense. He was a willing passer, even to guys who weren't very good players. And one of the things that he did really well was just score the ball. He can come around screens. He can hit threes. He can work out of the pick and roll. He can find guys off the dribble. He is a very complete player as a prospect, and that's not something you see a lot. And that's the reason why scouts, even with the team that he was on, even with the struggles that team kind of went through, they could kind of project his game to the next level. And that's going to be what makes him probably the #1 pick, is just the way that his game will translate to the NBA. Fultz is 6'5" with long arms, big hands. He can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot off the catch. So he's going to be an on-ball and an off-ball threat probably right away. He's a really good passer. He actually had a higher assist rate than Lonzo Ball, who's considered one of the best passers in the draft. And when you look at his complete game, he can really score. He can shoot over people. He can dunk. I mean, he can really get up. He can be a lob target off the ball if you use him correctly. The team that drafts him is going to be able to use him in a lot of different ways. They're going to be able to kind of mold him in whatever direction they want him to go. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest things for him, is just that versatility, especially on the offensive end. Out of all the players in this draft, I think Fultz has probably the best star potential. He could be a franchise cornerstone if he develops the way that people are hoping that he will develop. His offensive skill is perfect for the modern NBA. His defensive potential is sky high. And when you combine those things in a league where point guards really run the show, he could be one of the absolute best point guards in the league, assuming that he develops correctly. I'm Tom Westerholm. Make sure to follow MassLive.com for all of your 2017 NBA Draft and Boston Celtics coverage.